booth next to us, we had on one side Rand Paul and those who are involved with Campaign for Liberty, and on the other side we had the John Birch Society. Both of those teams, both of those booths, and those people that were involved there had a very positive reception to Rushdoony. The highlight, I think, for me was, interestingly, the actor, Vince Vaughn, walked right up to Rushdoony's table and looked at me straight in the eye and said, "Hey, how are you? It's good to see you here." I didn't get a chance to speak to him at that moment because he was thronged with people wanting pictures and things of that nature. But later on at the banquet in that evening, which was this evening, we got a chance to talk a little bit at depth, and he was discussing his impression about liberty, and I told him, and I suggested, I said, well, all philosophy, of course, at the root is fundamentally religious. You can't get away from it, and it's fundamentally theological in its initial or root presupposition. And interestingly, he looked at me, and he paused, and he said, you know something? You're right. And that was an interesting moment where he was able then to think outside of the box of libertarianism into the box of theology, and to really contemplate that there is no theological neutral position when discussing anything. So I found that to be very interesting, and I was quite delighted that I had a chance to talk with him. One interesting thing that happened today was a young man came to the booth, very excited, knew a little bit about Rushdoony, and he was here for the air show, saw that there was the Liberty Conference, decided not to go to the air show, and came to the booth and purchased quite a number of books, and was very, very talkative and very interested in what we had to say, even asking some theological questions, some very deep biblical theological questions, and it was obvious, very evident, that he was very excited to be there, and he said he would forego the entire air show. And sadly, as you know, today's news, there was a tragic accident at the air show. So God really protected him and brought him to us where he was fed, and I think he'll go on and do great things with his work. Now, there was one gentleman that came to me with an iPod and a microphone, a shotgun microphone, and put it in my face and started asking me questions. And at the beginning, I thought maybe he was not thinking to go into the culture with the gospel or with the law of God, as if he was maybe a monastic, pietistic thinker. But I was mistaken, because when I discussed the fact that I didn't know if I would agree with him, because I believe that God's Word has a place in every area of life, he was smiling while I was talking, and I realized that we were on the same page. And he was very impressed with some of Rushdoony's work and the idea that we had to infiltrate and take dominion over all areas of life, especially beginning with the eschatological position that Christ is the governor of nations, and he will have dominion and victory in time and in history, not in the by and by. So we had a very interesting discussion, and I hope he uses that interview well.